The CLEEN Foundation has called on police oversight agencies to learn new strategies that will improve on their service delivery. The program manager of the foundation, Chigozirim Okoro, made this known in Abuja while addressing newsmen at the foundation's workshop for police oversight agencies in Abuja. Okoro says participants at the workshop should share the knowledge and lessons learned with their colleagues in the different agencies they represent.
We actually here to train key oversight agencies of the Nigeria Police Force, on their just different components that will lead to improved service delivery. So this is basically one of the activities under the MacArthur funded project on police reform. The overall objective is actually to strengthen police and policing in Nigeria. The project was actually informed by events of the NSAS that led to chaos across the country. You recall the protests that happened and how the challenges, that it led to in terms of police stations burned, in terms of personnel that died, in terms of persons that died. And so CLEEN, as a leading organization in public sector and security, actually developed this project. And this activity, this particular training is carefully targeted at these oversight agencies. Why? Because some of their mandates are crucial to making our policing system and our police officers better. And so what our objective basically here today is to share, because these are human beings. Yes, they work for us, but from their various experiences, we will also learn. Each of the agencies will share their lessons over time, and they will also learn new ways of thinking that responds or that contributes to responding to emerging challenges in our space. Till date, police brutality is still an issue. And so for us, this activity is crucial. It's one of the activities that is at the core of this project. And for us, we expect to see that by the time they're living here better informed in terms of knowledge, in terms of, you can call it knowledge gained, in terms of lessons learned, and not just they keeping it within themselves. Because part of the problem is when you benefit from this kind of training, you take it back to the various institutions that you represented. And so taking it back, we have requested that they should produce a good report, and that the reports should be presented through their line managers and ensure that it gets to the overall boss in charge in terms of the Executive Secretary of the Commission, the Chairman of the Police Service Commission, the Honorable Minister of Interior. So for us, the essence is just to see that they will begin to act on these key lessons. And part of what we also want to see happen in terms of those benefiting from this activity is to ensure that they will do what we call knowledge sharing. So you bring other colleagues within your various agencies and you share as much as possible, you share as much as you have learned. And we have also encouraged them to pay key attention, ask those right questions. So at the end of the day, they will leave here better informed, such that it will trickle down to these agencies, and then they'll step up to their responsibility. They will rise up to their responsibilities, such that it won't be business as usual when it comes to their various mandates. When you talk about influence, you look at it, I'm looking at it from the lens of capacity. Okay, so we've identified key institutional gaps, but there are also efforts made by these agencies with support from civil society organizations and development partners to also ensure that some of these gaps are being taken care of in terms of bridging those gaps. And so what we are doing here is part of those efforts. And so at the end of the day, we hope it is one out of numerous, though, and that will be done, okay, because training and retraining is part and parcel of what we do. And we expect to see how this contributes to improving the process.
We're trying to bring more awareness to the public to make sure that they know that the Commission is there for them, so that cases of police officers who step out of the realm of their duties, who cross the line and basically overstep and harm the general public are brought to our attention, so that we can treat these cases as quickly as possible and weed out the bad seeds from the police to make it more effective.
So what would, in your own judgment, what would you say is the main challenges the police are facing?
The main challenge that they're facing, I think some of it includes, number one, financing is a problem for them, and also training. Training is something that has to be constant and continuous to be effective, because you can't put someone in a job and leave them there. So I think that's one of the major cases, one of the major issues that are there.
So what is the service doing to tackle these challenges now?
What we're doing basically is by making sure that we put the right people in the right places. As you know, the Police Service Commission, one of our roles, our core roles, is the recruitment of police officers. So we're trying as much as possible to make sure that the right people are recruited in the right roles. That way, it means that when you're training them, if you have the right people in the right role, it's easier to train them and get them to do the right thing.
So people say that the police are poorly paid, their welfare package is very low, and that contributes to the kind of police we have now. So, which means the kind of police we have is the kind of police we want, because of what we are what we are investing into them. Do you agree with this?
Yes, but as you can see, recently the police package was actually reformed. It was actually changed positively, and is awaiting effect by by the government. So I think the government is working towards that, making sure that the police are better paid, because that's one of the rules. If you don't pay people well, you don't expect them to put in their best. So they're working towards that.
CLEEN Foundation has been known for the past 24 years of working towards police reform in Nigeria and beyond Nigeria, as a matter of fact. So the intent of this meeting is to ensure that we work towards every avenue, or explore every avenue, to ensure that we have a reformed, democratic, principled police in Nigeria. That's the goal. I think, like drop in an ocean, we are seeing some little changes here and there. Of course, Nigerians still expect the very significant ones that everybody can see. We would not say that there have not been any change, or that the government has not done anything in terms of reforming the police since the EndSARS protest. But what we can say is that it's not tangible enough. So Nigerians are still expecting the government to do more. So we can't say that they've not done anything. It's just that it's not too significant for Nigerians to point at right now. We know that there's a trust deficit between the public and the police. As much as there is between the public and the police, I think it's also, if you turn the table, it's also the same way. There's also a trust deficit from the police to the public, and from the police to the government. So it's all interwoven. What can government do? The government needs to build, before we talk about government, we need to talk about the institution itself. So they need to start to work on their image. Police image needs to be reinforced. They need to be reassuring to Nigerians that they are actually working for Nigerians and not for some set of Nigerians, that they are for the public and they are there to protect Nigerians and not to exploit or brutalize Nigerians. I think that's one angle that we need to see from institutionally. For government also, to build trust, legitimacy comes to play. Legitimacy lies with the public. But in as much as we talk about that, the government also has a role to play in ensuring that the welfare of police officers is improved on, so that can also change the way they also see their work. So many police officers are not very happy with the condition of work, and that affects the way they carry out their assignments, yes. So if the government is going to work on that, we've had a promise, which we are not very sure if they've started paying, of an increment in salary. We also know that there's a talk around tax rebate for rank and file. We are not very certain if that has come into effect. If it hasn't, that means government needs to speed up action to ensure that that comes to play, so that will also, in a long queue, affect their disposition to work. That's the hope.